Yes, you've got to start somewhere, and that is a fantastic thing to do. Do some skills training, men and women. It certainly will benefit all your mountain biking. Now we're changing tack a little, quite dramatically, in fact, because we've been joined in studio by Dr. Tertius Venter, who is sitting opposite us now. Tertius, welcome to the studio.
Thanks very much.
You are riding, you've ridden all over the world, raising awareness and raising funds for a very specific cause. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I've been working with mercy a couple of years now, and the big motivation behind it all is that 1/3 of the world, which means 1 out of every 3 people, has got no access to any surgical care whatsoever. So whatever happens to them, they've got nowhere to go, and it's a huge need worldwide. And it is about raising funds and raising awareness for organizations or individuals that gets involved with this need and relieve this need.
You're a surgeon, so you ride your bike, you raise awareness and funds, and then you spend time on the ship operating on those who need.
That's correct. I go twice a year for 2 months and 2 months again, and then I also work with 2 other organizations that's got the same aim, as to relieve this need in the world.
Tell us a bit about the cycling aspect of it.
Well, that all happened because of Ebola. 2 years ago, I was on my way to West Africa to work on the ship for 2 months. And at the very last minute, the visit was cancelled because it's a surgical ship that can't really deal with infectious diseases. And I had this 2 months free. And the other organization that I work for, we train surgeons in Africa for Africa, and they asked me to come to Cameroon. I needed money for that. We need about 30,000 Rand to go there. That I have to raise myself, and I thought I'll do a bike ride. And that I did from Amsterdam to Stuttgart in Europe. I trained about 3 weeks and then did that. It was 600 kilometers. I raised enough funds, but immediately had the idea I'm going to quadruple the distance every time I do the next ride. So then I did, a couple of months later, I did one here in South Africa from Pretoria down to Cape Town. And then just about a year ago, I did one in the United States from New York to San Francisco.
Now you're doing another one in South Africa again, starting in Pretoria, ending in Cape Town International Airport. When does that take place, and how can we get behind you in order to raise more funds for your great work you've been doing on the Mercy ships?
Yeah, this one we're starting on the 2nd of November and will end the 15th of November. And we're doing it from Wonderboom Airport to Cape Town Airport. The reason for that is Airlink is one of our sponsors, and they are endorsing the whole initiative. So we'll do it from airport to airport. It's just interesting that Mr. Musi Msimanga, from the new mayor of Tshwane, he's going to cycle the first day with us, also endorsing the whole initiative. So that will take place, and we're going to do, not going straight down, we're going towards Potch and then towards the Lesotho border. So we make it about 2,000 kilometer distance.
And how could the public get involved who'd like to contribute to this worthy cause?
There's 2 websites that one can visit to see what it's all about. One is the Cycle Miles for Smiles website, it's cyclemilesforsmiles.org, or mercyships.org, the 2 websites, and you can get involved through those 2.
Doc, just give us a bit more information about the Mercy ship itself. You say there's a couple of them, and where do they actually travel in the world? And specifically, maybe let's talk about the African Mercy ship. Where does it travel around the continent, and what facilities are on this ship itself?
The organization was started about 30 years ago with an old ship, and eventually had 4 old ships, which was replaced 7 years ago with a state-of-the-art new ship, a ferry that was built into a hospital ship. 5 operating rooms on it, theaters, almost 100 beds, ICU, all this. Is a state-of-the-art hospital ship that really visits the poorest of the poor countries in the world, and they concentrate mainly in West Africa because that is the poorest region in the world. The second ship is now being built in China, which will come in line within the next probably 18 months. So it's really taking a first world hospital into these countries where there are really no surgical facilities available. There's like 1 surgeon for every 1.5 million people, and 60% of the people in those areas got no access to any form of medical care whatsoever. So there's a huge need out there. And that ship will go in there, it goes for 10 months into a port, have a real impact on that country, and then move on to the next country.
Who's funded these ships?
It's all privately funded, so they don't get any government grants. So they have offices throughout the world with the main purpose of raising funds, because to run the ship alone is about $1 million a month.
Tell us about your bike.
The bike itself?
Yes.
The one that I started off with and finished the United States one
Yes.
was a track bike that I had for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then as it was, I did that 6,500 kilometers without incident. Very dangerous roads in the US. Some of them is really, you share it with big trucks. Came into Holland, safest cycle country in the world, and I wrote it off. Person came in, stopped in front of me with a motorbike, and I just rode the whole bike off. So now I've got a giant cyclocross that I cycle with.
Is that what you'll be using to go down?
Yeah, that's right.
So who will be joining you along the routes, this 2,000-kilometer journey from Waterkloof down to Cape Town?
Yeah, there's 10 people who's going to join. One is Tim Lotz, who's organizing the whole tour, and various other people that is getting involved. One is my school friend that did the tour last year with me, Botha. He's going to cycle with me again. He taught me a lot about long-distance cycling, and wasn't for him, I wouldn't have done the US tour. Those two I did all on my own. So they're doing, and a couple of other people have signed up to join us. So we will be a group of 10 people.
How many Ks a day?
On this one, we're going to do about 160 kilometers a day.
Pretty modest.
Yeah.
Dr. Tertius Venter, a surgeon making an enormous difference to people around the world. Incredible work. Well done.
Yeah, thanks very much.
And good luck with the ride.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, you know where to find it. CycleMilesForSmiles.org is the website, and you can make a contribution to ensure that Dr. Venter and others can get on board the Mercy ship and perform those much-needed surgeries around the African continent. Really, really fantastic. Right, now let's talk about disc brakes. Now, as we know, the UCI Amdenar, they said, yes, you can use them. And then they said, no, you can't use the disc brakes on road bikes. Where are we now? Let's see what developments have been evolving in this space.